So as I record this, fuel prices for your home are skyrocketing, and fuel prices for your car, to fill your car up with petrol and diesel, are also increasing quite rapidly. And again, by the time you see this video, it probably increased even more. So one of our jobs as a management agent of vacation rentals is to look at trends and try and predict things that are going to happen. And hey, the world is definitely an unpredictable place. Who could have predicted a war straight after lockdown? But what we will see 100% is fuel prices rising for cars, at least in the short term. It may never go back down, it may lead to fuel shortages, etc, etc, but this is definitely going to be a consideration for guests who may have all these trips planned in the summer, may decide to cut back, may decide to stay fewer days, and may decide just not to go at all. So we want to preempt that. Now, for owners, we are creating lots of different toolkits to save energy, but one thing we want to do is try and get as many guests as possible, not to have any reductions. So one thing that we've done a little bit of research on is guests travelling to your property. Now, fuel wasn't too much of a consideration. You're going on holiday, you're going for your staycation, and you're driving here, there, and going to the beach. Well, not overly expensive in comparison to other things, but now that cost definitely is going to be in people's consciousness. They're saying, well, I've got all these increased staycation costs because prices are quite high, and now I have to drive and have the car. So one nice little one to set you apart from other owners is if you have space, and I'm recording this in the garden, there's plenty of space here, but if you've got space in your holiday home, make a little area for bikes, either people bringing their own bikes, or even better, get some bikes for the family. Now this may cost you £1,000 to get bikes and helmets and bits and pieces, but imagine even your eco-sustainability conscious guests saying, well, I can get there by train, but I have a bike, so I don't need to pay increased taxi fares, I don't need to take my own car and have crazy fuel charges, and actually do a little bit of exercise with the family. So it isn't going to be suitable for everyone, but if people are looking at listings and the price increases and the price of fuel as a consideration, that might just be the thing that sets your property apart. So we'll probably build out a separate part of the new booking platform to build around this, where there are bikes at properties. Now, there's lots of considerations about keeping your bikes maintained and insurance, etc, but it's something we're playing on at the moment. So we'll start having a think, could you have some bikes at your property? You're never going to please everyone because there's so many demographics of families, couples, 2 women, 2 guys, family with kids and daughter, son, different ages, but definitely a thing you could think about to say, well, if that energy conscious or price conscious guest can see that you've got bikes at the property, I suspect this is something we are going to have in 10 years' time anyway, so we're not going to be doing anything that everybody's not going to be doing. So I think the things that we are seeing with price rises, it's all pushing us towards not travelling as much, not using cars. There's more to all the price rises than what we've been told. So we really need to look at these big macro trends and say, what is the future? And the future isn't people driving cars. I can tell you that is everybody with their car and their 2 and 3 and 4 car families. That is game over for that. So we are going to be moving to sustainability. How does that affect guests? Well, guests may not come here with a car because it's too expensive, it's cheaper to get the train. So if they've not got their car, they can't get transport, so perhaps a couple of bikes or something around that, and we're still chopping this out, but if we can think about that now at the early stages, and our owners can be the leaders of that, and your listings are up with lots of reviews years in advance of other people doing this to say, there's bikes at the property, we saved so much money, it was great, and the facilities, maybe start off with 2 bikes, reinvest the money in the extra bookings that you definitely will get back in, so that next season you can get bikes for kids, you can have a secure storage, you can have a little hut. These things cost money, I totally get that, at a time when we've maybe not had the same income as we've had during the lockdown periods, but definitely something to think about. The car thing is never going to go back to normal. You can be naive about that, but you can hold on to that we're going to have 3 cars and drive about. It's not going to be. The government are going to be setting all these things, they're going to be banning cars and doing all these different big things. How does that affect our guests? Less guests will be having cars, less guests will have the money to travel about with all these increased tariffs, etc. So if we can plan ahead for that, get some properties, get them in specific listings and collections on our booking platform, and then we will get the share of the guests in advance, because I've spoken to other people in the industry and they're like, no, it's just a little few macro trends, look at how guest changes are going to be, and decision making is going to be changing over the next few years, and let's be ahead of it and at least start thinking about it now.